Okay, I'm going to just do a little lesson about painting with acrylic in the old master's layering and glazing technique. To start off though, do a little demonstration here. What's really important is to have a transition from light to dark. It's going from dark into light, or light into dark. It works both ways when I'm going to do dark colors and I'm going to do light colors. Now, you need these soft edges where you could tell where something begins, but you can't really tell exactly where it ends. That's sort of the secret of getting nice soft edges and a really nice soft realistic painting. Now we're just going to do a red ball. Just a generic sort of, nothing much happening here. Sort of just monochromatic, because that's pretty much how you're going to paint most paintings. The old masters did a detailed underpainting that would sort of look like a black and white photograph. The underpainting or the colors that you use could be personal preference. I'm just using I'm using Payne's Gray just for this demonstration. The old masters used to use black and raw umber. Maxfield Parrish used to use cobalt blue. Different artists use different colors, and it doesn't really matter. What matters is the value. Lights into darks, how light something is, how dark something is, shadows, anything of that. It's the value of light into dark. Now, I'm going to dry this with a hair dryer because it's important that it dry between each coat, otherwise it would blend. So you could do this technique with oil and you could do it with acrylic, which is what I'm using now. It's what I like acrylic because it's very forgiving. Now I'm going to dry it between each layer with a hair dryer, but I'll cut that out so we just don't waste time watching paint dry with a hair dryer. Now, when your first underpainting is done, I'm going to do a red ball. So we're just going to grab red and color the entire thing with just a wash of red color. Don't worry about the values of the finished painting as we're adding the layers, because that all happens without you being concerned. In other words, you don't have to mix a lot of different shades of red. We're just going to use pure red as it comes from the tube, but we're going to add lights and darks to that, the different values by the underpainting. Now, if this was a real painting, as far as having more than just one thing in it, I wouldn't be too concerned about the dryer, because by the time you get it back around to different spots, it'll be dry already. So, and again, we're just building it up each time a little bit, another layer. Now the thin washes of color, that's how you get, now again, if you notice that, what I do is I always get a little water, a little of paint, and then always dab it, because you always have too much paint. Usually almost always have too much water. Now it seems like a long drawn-out process. The end result is certainly worth it, but Rembrandt had said that a painting should have at least 70 to 80 glazes on it, and he achieved incredibly lifelike images because of the glazes, and that's exactly what you're going to see happen here. Add more shadows. Now also, if I was working on a real painting, I would be adding white from this side, bringing it over. I'm not doing that now just because I want to keep it as simple as possible so that you get to sort of understand how it's working. And you know, just imagine we're adding white every third time, building it up back and forth. Now, if this was a face or any other fruit or just about anything, we would just be, you know, adding lights and darks to form it, sculpt it, if you will. Don't worry about if you see a little line here or something, because that's you know, try to be light, feathered. The lighter touch you have, the better. Now we could keep going. Actually, we're going to do it a few more glazes, see how it builds up. Now the dark glaze looks good, so I'm just going to add another red on top of that. Now what gives the painting depth, so they say, is the light travels through the paint. It hits the white surface of the canvas and sort of vibrates out, almost like a stained glass effect. Now this is as far as I'm going to take this one, just for the sake of a quick demonstration. If this was a painting, I'd be going a lot more. Now, because we have this transparent effect happening because of the white canvas, I'm going to stop that around the edges so it really gives a neat contrast. You'll see it. Now this is how, if you go into galleries or museums where they have paintings that look like you could walk inside them. They have a depth to them, which a lot of paintings don't have. They're as flat as the surface they're painted on. But this technique is what gives depth to a painting. If you want your paintings to look like people could walk inside them, or they have actually atmosphere, this is the technique that it's done with. Layering of thin washes of color. Now what I'm doing with the Payne's Gray now, and again it could be black, it could be any solid color actually, is I'm stopping the light from traveling through the paint by making it heavy. Or thicker. And this could also be built up in layers too. Okay, now as you can see, I'm not sure how well it picks up, because I know like in photos and on video you don't see the depth, the way this ball really seems to be coming forward. I mean, you might see it a little bit. I'm just not sure, you know, how much you could actually tell, but it does have a coming forward kind of effect. Now to show you another thing with layering, I'm just going to draw another ball, but we're going to do that a little quickly because I want to show you the contrast that could happen. So you could actually watch this one happen, and I'm not going to talk through this because I'm going to speed it up. Now we have here two red balls. Again, done quickly. I'd take more time with it, but again, quick demonstration. I'm just trying to convey the old master's glazing, layering techniques. Now, this could be anything in nature. Assuming they're clouds, assuming they're two different trees. If I wanted to make this ball look like it was farther away, I could have mixed the colors that made it look darker. But the beauty of layering paint is you can take a wash of the darker color, and again, if this was a landscape, I would be using a bluish color to, in a sense, add atmosphere. But all I'm going to do is put a wash of the darker color over the ball, and not by mixing a lot of colors, I've now made this ball look farther away. So it's a neat little, so if you were doing a bunch of trees, just by putting washes on some of the trees, you could make them come forward and go backwards. Same thing with blades of grass, washes on blades of grass, making them look, some are forward, some are backwards, because you're adding atmosphere, you're adding space by layers of paint. Again, this is just a quick little introduction. If people like it, I'll do more demonstrations of specific things. So I hope you get the gist of this, and thank you. I'll add another one so you can see, you know, it's almost endless how many times you could do it. You could really make it recede. And again, just try to get a very light, feathery sort of touch. And the water will sort of, you know, level itself out. Now, if you're painting vertically and you're finding it's running too much, we'll just add a little matte medium or glazing, some kind of thing to make the water, in a sense, thicker, because that's basically what matte medium, and there's a lot of different glazing things they sell that you could, you know, add to the paint. Again, short little demonstration. Hope you like it.